Thanks very much. Regarding personal actions or contact with climate change very recently, I don't know about you folks, but I experienced a very brutally hot summer here in Hamilton. It was quite noticeably hot. It's globally going to end up being the hottest year ever, so it's not surprising that it was hot here as well. On a recent canoe trip north of Chapleau, Ontario, we experienced a lot more rapids than normal because the water levels were low, there were a lot more rocks exposed, it was a lot more treacherous getting through. Just a few years ago, I and other climate action activists were met with comments like, "Even if global warming is real, I will love warmer winters." This week we learned of the driest June and July in southwest Nova Scotia since 1880. Wells are running dry, people are desperate. On a lighter note, blueberries in northern Ontario were decimated this year because of drought conditions. Food prices are rising due to droughts in California, where much of our non-local food comes from, especially in the winter. No one thinks climate change is fun anymore. Canada is coming back from the Harper days, where we used to be considered an international pariah. Now, apparently, Trudeau is taking us out of those days. However, we as a country need to take a moral global position on tar sands extraction. Tar sands extraction is more carbon intensive than sweet oil, and the more we produce, the more CO2 emissions are released in Canada as well as in the countries buying the oil. We should be using our own light sweet oil just to get by, to transition to green energy. Once we've transitioned away completely, then we can stop even using this. We should be, tar sands bitumen should be staying in the ground, and more Canadian voters recognize this now. Many more voters than I think the politicians appreciate, because I'm still hearing arguments that politically we need to appease the people who are in the oil patch, because if we don't, you might face another Conservative government. So the argument that I've heard from a colleague of Ms. Tassi is that we need to put up with a government that will ignore our needs regarding climate change and will go forward approving pipelines because we don't want to annoy the folks in the oil patch. So we accept these kinds of things that we were fighting when we were fighting against Harper so that we can have a Liberal government in power. I don't think that's how things should work. One argument that has been trotted out is if we stop producing and sending our tar sands oil out to other countries will simply produce that product and reap the benefits, and we'll lose out. This is an immoral position. This is like a pusher saying, if I stop selling fentanyl, some other pusher will sell it and they'll make the profit. Recently, the Bloomberg report, or a Bloomberg paper reported, this is yesterday in fact, that Trudeau is planning to approve at least one pipeline this term. That new oil pipeline is absolutely unacceptable. Given what we have been told during the election campaigns, we cannot put up with this. The Liberal government also promised to reform the NEB, the National Energy Board, and its mandate. The NEB currently is a rubber stamp organization. It has never refused a single project. Many of the officers of the NEB are former fossil fuel executives, and some have direct ties to pipeline lobbyists, and many of you have read about this recently in Quebec, where 3 of them had to recuse themselves from a pipeline decision-making panel because they had been meeting with lobbyists for TransCanada. The NEB needs to be reformed now. All NEB hearings must stop until the NEB has been repopulated with credible officers, and its mandate includes upstream and downstream carbon emission reductions. This is something that the Liberal government campaigned on, And to carry on leaving the NEB in its current state does not make any sense. We should not allow any more NEB decisions until this has been done. NEB has lost its social license. If it's allowed to carry on without complete reform, you will see resistance. There should be no more pipelines, there should be no more expansions, there should be no more support for tanker projects. We need to see no excuses about needing to keep oil patch workers employed. They do need to be employed, however, we're hearing that it takes too long, it takes some time to develop these green energy jobs for these people, so we can't start shutting down the tar sands. The government cannot make that claim unless it is already taking these actions. So the government must provide transition opportunities now, not claim that it will take too long to transition employment to green energy jobs. We need to transition away from tar sands extractions. We need to keep it in the ground. Thank you very much.